It's Christy. So I'm here with card number 9 in my Christmas card series, and today I'm going to be using a couple of Lawn Fawn sets. This is the Let It Snow and the Critters in the Snow here, and I'm going to be doing some watercoloring with Distress Inks. So I've gone ahead and mounted a few images on some blocks here, and I'm going to start with some tumbled glass to stamp my snow line. So I'm just going to ink that up. Just want a nice soft blue here for the snowbanks. So we'll just go ahead and put that at a little bit of an angle and press that down. Okay, it's not going to look perfect, and that's okay, because like I said, we're going to watercolor. So while I have the tumbled glass out, I thought I'd take this little snow image and do a couple of spots of that here and there. Just putting it on kind of random. Okay. We don't need to go all the way down to the line because that's going to be covered up anyway by our trees. I've got the large and small solid tree here. So we'll do a couple of these in the forest moss, and then a couple in the pine needles. So I'm just going to line that up over there. Okay. Do another one maybe over here. Okay, then we'll do a couple of the little ones. This is going to be a nice bright green. Maybe one more over to the side there. So we're also going to stamp out Rudolph in a bit, but we're going to get started with this. I've got some water here in a little well, and I'm going to grab a paintbrush, and then we're going to just add some water to the different areas and kind of bleed out that color a little bit. Kind of saturating that. And then if I don't feel like there's enough color on there, go ahead and move one of these trees off of a block. I can take an acrylic block and just add a little bit more of that tumbled glass, and then I can pick that up and paint that on as well. Kind of give it a little bit more of a frosty look. Now we're going to take the same brush, just add a little bit of water, and go ahead and bleed out the color from these trees. We want to have a nice watercolor look, so it's okay if it, you know, wicks away. That's the whole point of a watercolor look, is to have that kind of organic look to it, you know, where the paint kind of does, or the pigment kind of does what it wants to do with the water. Just add some water here and let those two bleed together a bit. Alright, I'm going to give that brush a good rinse, and we can add some water to our little snow droplets here. Just kind of dabbing at those. Now we're going to grab this Season's Greetings sentiment and a block that's big enough for it. And I'm going to take some Festive Berries Distress ink for that. And then we'll just stamp this down at the bottom. Once again, grabbing just a bit of water. I'm going to actually squeeze some of that off. And then just carefully go over that to keep with our watercolor look here. We don't want to make it unreadable, so we just need very little water. There we go. Alright, so I've got some extra watercolor paper here. I'm going to stamp out our reindeer in some VersaFine Onyx Black. So that plays nicely with the watercolors. And then we're going to take some brushed corduroy and some antique linen. And I'll just clean off my block here. And we'll add a little bit of that. Alright, so now we're going to watercolor our deer. I'll start with his antlers. I'll pick up the antique linen. Just adding that in there. It's just starting with a bottom layer, and then I can go back in with a little extra to shade after that starts to dry a little bit. While that's drying, we'll start to do his legs. I'm doing these back ones first so that they stay nice and dark. Pick up a bit more water. And we'll just paint that in there. Alright, and now while his body is drying, we'll go back in with that antique linen. We'll take just a little bit of the brushed corduroy over there, and we'll do some shading here on his antlers. Not a lot, just a little bit to kind of make him a little more realistic looking. Alright, and then we'll come back in and add a little bit of shading to our deer's body as well. And we'll add some water to the rest of it to kind of dilute it a little bit and blend that all together so you don't see where those washes of color are. I'm going to take a little dab of Festive Berries. And we'll just, I'm going to pinch some water off my brush because I want it to be pretty concentrated there. Add that to his nose. Okay, and then I'm going to dilute that quite a bit and just fill in his ear there. Alright, I'm going to grab the matching die and die cut that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a piece of pattern paper from this holiday collection by American Crafts, and I've got the Mama Elephant Femme Frames dies. I'm going to go ahead and die cut both of these pieces. So I have a piece of Crafter's Companion craft cardstock here that I'm using for my card base. I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of our pattern paper. And I'll get that lined up here on my card. There we go. I'm going to adhere the watercolor paper flat to our card base as well, since this card needs to go through the mail. And that up in the center of the patterned paper. Alright, so even though I'm dying to add some dimension to this card, I am going to resist because, like I said, I want to keep this flat for mailing. That is something that is so hard for me to do because I just happen to love dimension so much. It's really hard for me to create a card without it, but I'm trying to challenge myself today, so hopefully it's working out. I'm adding some multimedia matte to the back of my reindeer here to adhere it to the watercolor paper. I'm out of my Tombow Mono right now, so until I can get to the store and get a new bottle, I'm just using my multimedia matte, which will do the same thing. So I'm going to add my reindeer over here. I'm going to go ahead and set an acrylic block down on him till that adheres. Then I've got a couple of flags that I've cut out of the scraps of pattern paper from the same pack. And I'm just going to add those to my card as well, just because it's looking plain. It's looking a little plain to me with no dimension, so I'm really struggling to try to add things without adding, you know, bulky layers. So hopefully this will work here. So we'll just add one right there. And I've got another one that I'll add over here. And then last but not least, I'll go ahead and add my little green flag over on this side. And there's our finished card. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you got some ideas of ways to watercolor a card for the holidays, or how to keep it flat for mailing. As you can see, this has a perfectly low profile, so that won't have any trouble using a regular stamp on that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.